Hi, today I'm here to show you a quick how-to on how to clean your bearings. To do that today, I'll be using my Alkali CA9 RPD hockey skates and cleaning the Swiss LE bearings. To do that though, you'll need a couple of items. So some of the things we'll be using today are a bearing cleaner. I'll be using the Bones one today. A bottle of methylated spirits. Lubricant. Again, I'll be using the Bones brand Speed Cream. A bearing tool. As you can see, I've made my own. One or more toothpicks. A small screwdriver or a pin, and some serviettes. And as an optional tool, a hairdryer can also come in handy. So, to start off with, we'll need to get our bearing tool, and we'll need to remove every wheel and bearing from the skate. So now that you've done that, your setup should look something like this. As you can see, I've got my wheels all set out. I've done that to keep them in the same order. Otherwise, now could be a good time to rotate. One of the things you might want to do while you've got your wheels off your skate is to clean out all the dust, dirt and grime that gets in underneath. There's no point cleaning them if you're still going to leave grime there to get in afterwards. So for the next step, we'll need our bearing cleaner. I got my Bones unit, and as you can see, I've laid down some serviettes underneath the bearings and spacers. That'll come in handy a little bit later on. And for the next step, what we'll need to do is we'll need to take the caps off our bearings. Okay, so we'll need to take the caps off these bearings. I'll be using my mini screwdriver tool. You can also use a pin. If you use a pin, you'll be able to prise the little dust caps off. I don't like to do that. I prefer to take the underside caps off. Might be a little bit more work in the long run, but I don't like to contort the shape of the dust caps. So yeah, these just pop out, just like that. So I'll just pop this to the side. And then once you do all 8 of your bearings, it should look something like this. Okay, now that you've done that, take off the lid of the bearing cleaner, remove the wing nut, there we go, we'll get that one off, and the spacers just like that. So what you'll next need to do is you'll need to put the bearings one by one face down on the axle like so with the spacers. Okay, so once you've done that, all you need to do is put the wing nut back on nice and tight. You've got all your bearings there facing down with the spacers in between. And then you're ready to put them inside the bearing cleaner. Okay, so before we can do that, what you'll need to do is you'll need to grab your metho or your cleaning agent, lovely child lock, and then put it inside the bearing cleaner. I like to fill it up to the line just here. You don't have to use too much or too little. That's the beauty of these bearing cleaners, because once you've got it in there, you just shake it around, and the more room it has to shake, the better access it has to clean. There we go. So you can see on the outside the outline of where the cleaning agent is. There we go. So once that's on there, nice and tight, that's when you can give it a good shake. There's no set time to do it. You can do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I like to give that a go. And then after you've done that, you can just leave them in there to sit for a little bit. That's when you can take your other skate and start to undo the wheels and bearings and get that ready to do next. Okay, so once you've finished doing that, you can remove the wing nut, remove the spacers and the bearings, and put the bearings face down on the serviette that you've already prepared. That way they can dry and a little bit of the excess cleaner can come out of it. Alrighty. So then what you'll need to do is get another serviette or tissue or whatever you're using to clean. I prefer to use serviettes. That's when you can go over and give each bearing a little wipe down. Give it a spin, get the excess cleaner out of it. And this is when the hairdryer comes in handy. A lot of people do this, especially if they're using the citrus-based cleaners. You can get the hairdryer, and what that does is that helps get any excess cleaner out of the bearings. So now that our bearings are all nice and dry and laid out, next we'll need our lubricant. I'll be using the Bones Speed Cream today, but you can use it in a lot of other different brands. Okay, so what we need to do with our lubricant, we'll need to grab that and then apply 1 to 2 drops just on the balls of the bearing like that. You don't need too much. If you use too much, it'll go everywhere once you start skating anyway. Give it a little spin just to spread it all around. You'll notice that'll quieten it down quite a little bit. And then what we need to do is grab one of our toothpicks, like so, and spin the bearings around and just put them same distance apart, or roughly as close to that as possible. So then we can get the dust covers, or the bearing retainers, I believe they're called, and then pop it down like that. Here's another one I've prepared earlier. Might seem a little bit more effort, but the other method being to remove this dust cover with a pin. I don't like to do that because these things are very easy to contort, and then if they're contorted, dust gets in. There we go. So then you repeat the process with all 8. Okay. So now that you've done that, you've got all 8 bearings cleaned, lubricated, and with the retainer caps back on. Next, what you need to do is you need to put them back into your wheels. So what I like to do is I like to put them so the retainer cap is on the inside. That way it limits the dust that can actually get in there. So you put them in there, wait for the click, put the spacer in as well, get the other one, dust cap facing down, wait for the click. There we go, it's in properly. And then after you do that, you do it for all 4 wheels, and then you can put your skate back together. Okay, so now that you've done that, you put your bearings back in your wheels and your wheels back on your skate. As you can see, you've got a nice spin and a nice sound. You're ready to go skating. So that's it for this video today. If you have any questions, feedback, comments, anything you want to say, write it down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, see you later.